What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Peanut Gallery Podcast. This is a place that we provide completely unprofessional and insignificant opinions on the most important and significant topics of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me, as always, is Seth. Seth, how you doing today, man?
Doing well. It's a nice day today. I've been having a good day. I'm excited to do the podcast. No complaints over here.
It's great. It's great. Everything's good for you over
great.
there in Fairy Tale Land. All right, moving right into the first segment here in the news. I never thought I'd be saying this, but I'm agreeing with Michael Moore. He recently said...
I never thought I'd hear that sentence come out of your mouth.
I know, man. Michael Moore's pretty out there, in my opinion. However, he was talking about Trump in the election cycle and how he actually thinks that Donald Trump is going to end up winning. And he's saying this, like, kind of his view on it is he's freaked out because he's a big Hillary supporter.
No.
I know, crazy, right? A Hollywood director. No
Someone,
way.
a celebrity voting for Hillary? What?
Crazy. Anyways, what his quote was, and he was actually fairly reasonable. Because he was saying that he knows a lot of people in Michigan and stuff like that who are voting for Trump who don't necessarily agree with him on every issue. And we talked about this briefly in our Beyond Politics segment. But basically what he was saying is that not everyone voting for Trump agrees with everything that Trump supports. Mm-hmm. There may be like one or two main issues that people are just really, really need, or they're desperate, or that's the person who they feel that lines up with them best, but they might disagree with him on multiple things. So I thought I was kind of surprised to hear him say that. You know what I mean? Most people just kind of classify them, in a bag of deplorables.
Yep.
But you know what I mean? Like, that was surprising for me to hear him say that.
It's a very reasonable statement, and I was very surprised because I wouldn't put Michael Moore under the reasonable person banner
category. Yeah,
but I mean, I respect it. I mean, that's awesome, and I think it's like we talked about in the Beyond Politics is like people have gotten so extreme with these two parties, and it doesn't need to be that way. And you can vote who you're going to vote for and believe in who you're going to vote for without completely condemning and demonizing the other group. Like he understands. Yeah. And also to not just lump, like, just because you vote for a person doesn't mean every single thing that person's ever done, you're like, that's like, it's maybe there's a couple things that you agree with. Maybe you just think that they're better than the other person.
Yeah. Definitely. I think that's where we are on both sides.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then another point that he said is that people voting for Donald Trump is the biggest FU, and it will feel good. And basically he's saying, like, people are so ticked off and angry with the system that we have right now. A lot of people are just voting for Trump, just saying, screw you guys, screw the system, Trump's going to go in and tear it down, all this kind of stuff. And
I kind of think I might be in that party.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think a lot of people line up.
Yeah, I am very tired with the
system. People are so fed up with it.
Yes, it's hasn't worked for a while, and it's very tiresome. And I think I think it's awesome. I mean, he's trying to understand the other side, and he doesn't say like, well, they're dumb for thinking the system's stupid. He just realizes that some people are fed up, and some people are going to choose this as their way to speak out against it, and he's just like, he understands, and it will probably feel good for them to do it coming from that background.
Yeah, definitely. Whether he's right or wrong, we'll see in a couple weeks. I personally don't think he is. I mean, if you look at the polls,
you don't think he's gonna win? You really don't? You don't think I think it's gonna be very close.
I think it might be closer than people give it credit, but I don't think that he will win. But we'll see.
There's
a lot of people who think
I mean, you look back, and I mean, Trump had like single-digit percentage to win the Republican nominee from the polls. I mean, I think,
but the polls still always had him winning the Republican nominee.
Oh no! I mean, at times he was at like 7%.
Maybe in the very beginning, but when there was before the debates and all that kind of stuff, when he was up there on stage with the other
he gained
people,
momentum very fast.
Yeah, he was pulling ahead. So I don't know. I feel like it's funny how Trump would always reference the polls when he was a nominee.
Oh well, they're right when they work for him.
The polls are great. Or if this poll, didn't say that he was doing well, it's a crappy poll and no one's ever heard about them. But then the next week it says he's doing well and he's like, oh, I love this poll. It's a great poll. And
it's
then
like
now,
a kid.
of course, when he's not doing as well, he doesn't like the polls. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see, man. I mean, everyone will know in just a couple weeks, which is scary.
Yeah, we got to do something for election night, dude. That's gonna be a tense night, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So that was my thought on Michael Moore, though. We got another interesting little piece of news coming over here. Is Sweden's highest court ban drones with cameras. Seth, why don't you tell us a little bit about that, man?
Yeah. So I stumbled upon this story this week, and I thought it was fascinating because I do think drones are starting to become a bigger part of our lifestyle, and I think they're going to probably become more and more integrated into us, and obviously they're going to need to be regulated. There's going to need to be certain rules, and Sweden's kind of just come out and been like, yep, we don't want them. Like they the Supreme Administrative Court of Sweden ruled that all drones with cameras count as surveillance devices. And so they ruled that they can only be used to prevent crime or accidents, basically restricting the use to only like police officers, the government. Like they'd be preventing crimes for using them, but the normal citizen wouldn't be able to use them because they'd probably just be using them for recreation. I think it's I didn't think about it at first, but now after like looking over it, it's basically the perfect way to just outlaw drones for the normal person, because what else are you going to use a drone for than to take pictures or a video or like a cool shot, Like it basically effectively makes them mute without banning them.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this, what plays out in America and stuff like that with the drones and everything. I'm typically not a fan of, the government outlawing citizens from doing something that they go ahead and do all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but think about it. I mean, it's going to be hard because there is going to be a privacy concern. If the fact that you can fly this thing wherever you want, I mean, you can't go on someone's private property, but what's to stop you from flying a drone 200 feet in the air above someone's house,
Yeah, but
it's
I mean,
going to
if
be
you
really
look
hard
at
to
it,
regulate.
I agree. It would be hard to regulate, but I mean, what's to stop somebody from running someone else over in a car? I mean, I think that you just have the majority of people just know. Like, I mean, maybe they could pass a law that's saying, it's illegal to fly the drone within this much altitude of someone's house or someone's, place of residence or something like that. But
They've started to do that a lot of places, and
I don't think that it should just be flat out illegal for drones to have cameras, though, because I think there's a lot of places, especially outdoors or well, obviously outdoors, but out in like
no, it's only inside.
Only inside, yeah. But like out, where there's vast areas of land, there's beautiful places like that. Flying a drone, I think, would be fine. And if you have to fly over a neighborhood to get there, I don't think that should be a problem. And I don't think it should be outlawed by the government.
No, I don't think this isn't the correct way to go about it. But I do like that they've been proactive in a sense, because a lot of American things that we just haven't really addressed them. American law is very slow to catch up to technology at certain times, and this is definitely, I feel, one of them where they really haven't caught up yet. They will eventually. And
is there any stance at all? I don't know the laws.
Well, there's been certain like I know airfields now have strict drone regulation. You have to register your drone if you want to fly within a certain distance of an airfield, which makes sense because you could get in the way of planes. That wouldn't be good. And then there's a lot of private property and cities and stuff where you're not allowed to fly them unless it's like your own property, and like it basically has come down to people being able to like go straight up from their house and then look down, but they really can't fly around buildings and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you have like Amazon, who's done the Amazon drone ad that everyone knows about, but really, realistically, probably isn't going to happen anytime soon. But then what happens with that? Because that's going to be flying over all sorts of people's places, and are they just going to be taking pictures? Like, I mean, Amazon could easily stick a camera, and then they start getting all this information. So who knows? It's going to be an interesting future with drones, but I just thought it was interesting that Sweden's come down so hard on them.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting, and we'll see how other countries kind of follow in the future.
Yeah.
Another big piece of information that came out: Nintendo Switch was announced. We're not going to talk about it too much on the Peanut Gallery podcast because we had dedicated an entire video on our Beyond Gaming segment to it. So if you want to look at that, go check it out on YouTube. Um, so yeah, but that was big, and we both agreed that it was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, go check out our video, man. We have an in-depth conversation about it.
Yeah, definitely. Then we have AT&T buying Warner.
Time Warner
Oh,
Cable. Yeah. Yep.
That's big.
Nuts. $85 billion, dude. Holy crap.
That's crazy. That is insane.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because, not very interesting, and we use interesting a lot, but it's fascinating because I don't know what this gives AT&T.
That's a steep price, I feel like, for...
Oh, dude, Time Warner's huge, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess at my house, I don't have cable or anything like that. Like, I stream everything, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
maybe, you know, I know that there's definitely still a huge market for it. I just tend to think that, you know, more people are kind of going away from cable news or cable television and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I might be in the minority there, but that's just a lot. That is a lot of money to buy a company.
Yeah, but I mean, with it, they're getting the DC license. They're getting something. I can't remember all that. Time Warner owns a lot of companies, and so with this buyout, they're going to get a lot of
other companies.
Well, not just companies, just IP and brands and stuff.
Brands, yeah.
People think that it could be AT&T because Time Warner does cable and stuff, and AT&T does internet and such. And so it could begin a sort of Netflix type pay-as-you-go TV station thing, maybe, you know, like this way they own both sides of it. They don't have to try to work with a different company. They just own it all, so they can make the choices of what to do. Just
buy it. Took a page out of Disney's.
I just can't see them making the money back. Like $85 billion. I mean, they're way smarter than us. But
I mean, the amount of research and time that they spent, you know, researching an $85 billion business.
Yeah.
I'm sure that they've got a game plan figured out. But I mean, there definitely are business deals that don't work out and, you know, head south. But I'm sure that they've done their homework on that one.
Okay, just real quick. Time Warner owns HBO. So Netflix. AT&T's getting all of HBO. They own Warner Brothers, dude.
Yeah.
So all of the Warner Brothers. I mean, that's Harry Potter. That's all. I mean, that's a ton of properties. So maybe
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry.
They're set.
Tom and Jerry is such like a shell of what it used to be because of all the political correctness. But so yeah, I don't know. I was like, that's one of the biggest deals. I think that's probably the biggest deal of our lifetime so far.
Yeah, that's got to be. That's
like we've seen Minecraft get bought for like $3 billion, and then you've seen like Yahoo.
Well, you had Marvel and Disney, or Marvel and
yeah.
What else did they buy? They bought Marvel and they bought one
Disney
other company.
Well, I mean, they bought Pixar in our lifetime, but that was a while ago.
Oh, Star Wars.
Yep.
There you go. They spent about $4 billion, I think, on each.
That was a little franchise.
Yeah, just a tiny, you know. But like that's $4 billion, and now you have 85. Anyways, but yeah, no, that's we'll see.
Because Game of Thrones is on HBO, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to be getting some. I mean, maybe they're going to.
That's almost over, I think.
Well, I think the books. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to be.
They'll just keep doing it. The author will be dead, but they'll just keep making them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that could be a perfect way for them to get into the streaming business. AT&T branded streaming.
Yeah.
To stay valuable. I don't know, but we'll see what the fallout is for that. But it's something that's worth talking about because it's a pretty big purchase.
Absolutely. So next we're going to talk a little bit about the Microsoft event. So that happened recently. A lot of big announcements there. A lot of really cool stuff. Seth, why don't you hit us with the headlines of this thing?
Yeah, so I was really excited. I couldn't watch the live stream. Obviously, I was working and stuff, but I was getting updates on my phone of like live blogs and stuff. They announced a lot of cool stuff. They announced a lot of stuff that I was kind of like whatever, but then they announced a lot of really cool things. Obviously, like a more powerful Surface Book, which is their tablet laptop thing. That's basic. They announced a bunch of 3D application things. Wasn't really paying attention because I don't have any way to view 3D. But then they announced that they have partnerships with like Lenovo, HP, Asus, all these companies that right now they make Windows computers. Now they have partnerships to make VR headsets for $299. So they are getting into the virtual reality game. And we talked about the PSVR
It's
a
big.
couple episodes back. Yeah, it's big. And I really think that VR is. I mean, even now we have Microsoft in the game, and I think
Yeah.
that's great. And then these lower end headsets, it's a great. It just adds to the market because right now we have the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive, which are very expensive. So these cheaper ones can get people into it, and it gets people creating content for it. I think it's an
Definitely.
awesome thing. That's really cool. Now, I think the star of the show was the Surface Studio, which they announced and
Yes.
debuted, and it looks freaking awesome.
It does.
It's essentially it's an all-in-one PC, which I know immediately a lot of people just turn it off because who wants that? But it's like it's basically an iMac but for Windows. It's touchscreen. It's got a gorgeous giant display, 28 inches, 4500 by 3000 pixels, super high PPI pixels per inch. So it's very crisp. Color accuracy is amazing. It's definitely was marketed towards creators,
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
people like drawing, animation, that kind of thing, which I really think they're trying to steal that from Apple because Apple's always been traditionally known as an artistic people get Apple products.
Yeah.
But the really cool thing too is so it's a giant computer and then you can push it down. It's basically like a giant tablet that you can draw on, touch screen. It's very cool. It's very elegant, very Apple-esque. I really think that they took the throne for just one of the most gorgeous pieces of technology with the way this thing is designed, the way this thing's built. They were really smart and they put all of the components of like the CPU, the GPU, all that stuff in the base so that the monitor, the screen is super thin. It's just a
Yeah.
very nice
It
piece
is.
of hardware. Very expensive. It starts at $3,000, goes up to I think $4,200. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's really cool though, and I really think it shows that Microsoft is taking this seriously and coming out with their own branded stuff, and I really think that they're catching up to Apple, which is we'll talk about a little bit later. But it was very good. The video ad that they put out was, I mean, you can agree, it was basically right out of Apple's playbook.
Yeah,
Like a
no, it
nice,
definitely was. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check out the Surface Studios, video that they put out. It's really really cool. But no, it's very similar to an Apple style video that they would kind of put out. I think you're definitely right. It definitely is marketed to kind of more artists and stuff like that, hipsters, whatever you want to call them. But at $3,000, man, I don't know how many people are gonna be able to shell out the
rich
cash
people.
for that. Yeah, rich hipsters, which not many
Yeah.
of them. But
And that's only for the base model, man. If you want to get the good one, I mean, it's all good, but it's like $4,200.
how much do the iMacs?
So I priced it out
Starting
actually.
off.
I built an iMac spec wise similar to the highest end Surface Studio, and it was about $200 more. But then again, the iMac's like a year and a half old or so. So there's newer hardware in the Surface Studio, but they're pretty price comparable. The only difference is that Apple offers a way bigger range of options. So the Surface Studio only comes in 3 options. But the iMac, there's a bunch of different ways you can customize it. So you can get it. You can start off really cheap, but
Yeah,
you'll
and
get like
upgrade it
4
later.
gigs of RAM, a very slow processor, slow hard drive. The Surface Book starts very solid with an i5, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a GPU. So that's cool. But it's priced in line with how the iMac is priced. So
Yeah.
it's not like crazy expensive.
No, yeah, that's really cool. Definitely see. Do you know when the release date for that? Do you know when that's coming out?
November, I think. I think it's
Okay.
end of this year. But they also said it would be like super limited quantities. So I think that they're doing like a limited run to see they're gonna test out the waters, and then if it sells well, they'll ramp up production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool, man. Well, yeah. So, kind of moving into the main topic here, we're going to talk a little bit about Apple. Going to talk about how they're doing it as a company. Are they in trouble? We saw this Microsoft event that's coming out. You've got a lot of other really good phones coming out other than the Note 7. Coming to kind of compete with
Yeah.
Apple, compete with the almighty iPhone. But I was even thinking about this the other day. Like, the Apple hasn't really come out with a new thing recently.
Dude, they took the headphone jack out of the iPhone. I mean, that took courage.
You're right. Yeah,
Gosh.
they're good. But yeah, so I don't know, man. What do you think? I think Apple is they're a unique company because they might, you say, beat their earnings or something like that, but that doesn't mean that their shareholders and stuff like that still have a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah.
They'll beat their earnings, but their stock price will still fall because even though they're making a lot of money, it's Apple. They're expected to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
What people really want to see are growth potential. And right now, I think there's a lot of people who are seeing, these other companies coming out with these really cool and innovative products, and Apple takes the headphone jack out of their new phone, and it's now jet black. So, like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's polished.
It's polished.
Yeah.
Polished. So I don't know. What do you think, man?
So I agree. Apple's a very unique company, whereas most companies, I feel, put they don't think about design and how the computer is built first. Apple very much, like when they're doing their events and they're debuting a new product, it's just as much about what it does and the tech as the design that went into it. Mm-hmm. For better or for worse. I mean, you have greatly designed products like the original iPhone. Well, maybe not the original. I think the 3GS and then the 4G, I think, were very well designed. All of them are beautiful, but
Those
not
two
at the
in particular.
expense of function. Because
Yeah.
then you have the MacBook, which, I mean, it has one port. Are you serious? Like, sure, it's beautifully designed, but it's coming at the price of functionality, which
Yeah.
I think is where I think they've kind of gotten off the rails. It's also interesting, I think, talking about Apple in the fact that they really don't do much first. They usually come into a market that's already existed. They just end up doing it better than everybody else, and then they become the market leader in that product type. Like the iPhone, it wasn't the first smartphone. I mean, you had Palm, you had the Sidekick, I think. You had these things before, but then Apple came in and just nailed what a smartphone is. And it totally blew the doors off what we thought they could be, but they didn't invent the smartphone. It existed in a much more rudimentary way. Then you have the iPad. Tablets existed. They weren't great. The iPad came out.
They came in and made it better, made it something that was, an option for people to purchase.
Yes. I mean, they have the iPad sales they're very low now, but not very
when
low.
It came out.
It showed what a tablet should do, and I really think that most tablets still are. There's no one that says you should get an Android tablet over an iOS tablet. I mean, the iPads they're great. They're wonderfully designed. They work great. They're just kind of expensive. But people, if they want them. And then you also have like the MacBook. And so they come into these product lines that existed and then perfect it. I really think what comes down to is they came into the Apple Watch with the Apple Watch. They came into the smartwatch and they didn't knock it out of the park. They did sell, obviously, they sold more than any other smartwatch. But that's not saying much because they really weren't selling many smartwatches anywhere.
And it's not like the leap that Apple did with the iPhone or with the iPad.
Exactly.
They were
a lot of
expected
people
to come in and knock it out.
A lot of people thought they were going to come out and just reinvent what the smartwatch was, and it'd be another crazy hit like the iPhone, and it just wasn't. And so I think that's when a lot of people started looking at Apple like, can they really keep doing this, where they come into these markets and then just destroy it?
Yeah.
I mean, a big thing that spurred this conversation is that this quarter, Apple's had the first revenue decline since 2001. Last year, 2015, the same, I think it was Q1, 2, and 3, they made $233 billion. And now, in the same time frame, in 2016, they've only made $217 billion, which, again, still billions and billions of dollars. Yeah. And, I mean, they have so much money in the bank, but just still.
Yeah, no, it's a decline. It's concerning if you're
been going up.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it's a trend or anything, but it did happen. And I really do think it comes down to market saturation and lack of innovation. I mean,
Yeah, totally.
they've sold so many iPhones. Like they sell more iPhones than any particular Android device by far. And I feel like they've just reached all the people they can reach, you know? And
Yeah.
so it becomes very hard to just have sustained growth like the shareholders would love. They would love for them to always sell more and more iPhones, but that doesn't work because you reach a point where you just no more nobody else to sell it to. And so I mean, iPhone sales now have been down 5% year over year for the past couple of years. The Mac is down by a large digit. They're down by 14%, and the iPad's down by 6%. I mean, none of their things are rising. I mean, for the Macs, for instance, I mean, I think they've kind of forgotten that they sell computers
Yeah, they
because
haven't made a new one in a while.
they haven't updated a Mac in, I mean, the Mac Pro, 2013 it came out, the end of 2013. The Mac Mini came out in 2014. I mean, these are old computers, and computer tech, people know, moves fast. I
Yeah,
mean, a couple years is a long
definitely
time.
faster than 3 years. That's for sure. You don't want to buy a product that's already 3 years
Yeah.
old, especially for the premium price that Apple charges.
Exactly. And so, I mean, they have their Mac event coming this Friday. And so, going to be excited to see what's going to be unveiled there. But they're really, I mean, I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, Apple's going to be going under in a couple of years. No, they're going to be around for a long time. They're fine. But Apple's always been this like gold star of,
Titan of industry.
yeah. And now you have Google with the Pixel phones really gunning for iPhones. And I really think they might have surpassed the iPhone finally in quality, in software, camera. I mean, the Pixel is going straight for the iPhone, and it's gonna be interesting to see how that sells. And now this Surface Studio and the Surface Book and the Surface Pro, I mean, Microsoft is now attacking Apple hardcore on the Mac side, on the
Yeah.
like on the home computer, and I would say winning. I mean, I think that all of those devices are superior to the Mac line, and I don't know if Apple can sustain both fronts being attacked by two different companies because Google doesn't have to fight on the home computer side, and Windows, I mean, they don't even care about the Windows Phone. The Windows Phone doesn't even exist to them, basically.
Yeah.
So those two companies can fight solely on those fronts, and Apple has to defend both while everyone being like, what's the next innovative thing you're going to do?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a tough job, but as the most profitable company in the world, I think they're up to the task.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's all going to kind of come down to user friendliness and stuff like that. Because Apple is, I mean, you pick up an iPhone, it's very basic. I know how to use my iPhone just as well as I know how to use my friend's iPhone. It's different from Android phone to Android phone. You have,
Mm-hmm.
the seamless interface. While Google Play is really good and stuff, you have iTunes, which I know you've had some bad experiences, but
I
overall,
hate iTunes.
overall, iTunes works very well with the iPhone and the iPad, and everything
It
is all in
works.
this
I would
one.
not say very well. It works.
It works all in this one ecosystem.
Yes, and I think
Um,
that's what they're really trying to do is nail down the people they have now.
Because it's a pain in the butt to switch
Exactly.
from
And if they can
iPhone
get
to
you
Android.
engulfed in the ecosystem, you're not going to want to switch.
Yeah.
Even if you're like kind of tired of the phone or you feel like they're not doing much, you're like, well, I have all these apps, all my friends, all my family's on iMessage because iMessage I think is a huge
iMessage is
deal.
a big deal.
Yeah. And they make a ton of money on the App Store.
Yeah.
Like they're not Apple's not hurting for cash. I mean,
No,
they're not
definitely
even
not.
close.
Um,
I think they need to start doing something, man. I mean, we always hear the rumors about the cars. If they put out some kind of Apple car, self-driving car, that could be the next big thing. But I think
Mhm.
everyone holds Apple to this standard where they're always like, what's the next amazing thing you're going to do? Whereas like Google and stuff and Microsoft, you're always
yeah,
like,
Google's
well, what do you have
always
to
doing
show us?
something, and they're always doing something. Yeah.
Yeah, people expect so much from Apple.
Yeah. And like we talked about earlier with VR with Microsoft and stuff like that. Like we haven't seen any kind of VR from Apple or I mean, I think that's a huge
Yeah,
huge
Apple
industry
doesn't have a horse in the race in terms of VR, and if that's going to be a big deal, I think they need to have something. I mean, I could see Apple doing just because VR is pretty rudimentary right now. Like, there's nothing really foundational of how it should be done. Nothing's really caught on yet to any big extent, and I think Apple could be perfect to come out with a super elegant, connects with your iPhone easily. It would work great because VR is hard because you have to have it work on so many types of systems. Whereas Apple, I mean, with they could have a couple, like all they have is the iPhone 7 and the 7 Plus, two phones it has to work with, you know? So
Yeah.
I could see them coming out with an incredible VR solution. There's just no indication that they're even interested in VR.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I find it's kind of weird, honestly. I mean, when you have a company that's based off of, like not necessarily creating the first product in the field, that's a big deal, but kind of creating a product that's similar to it but knocking it out of the park. You don't really see Apple expanding on any of these other products. Like, you would have thought they might have had something come out with VR that just took it to a whole nother level, or
Yeah.
but you haven't seen that in a while. So well, it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens to Apple in the next couple of years. I don't know. I definitely don't think that they're going away. Obviously, they're insanely profitable. They make so much money. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
But to see, if they still remain this main titan of industry, it's people aren't so sure. So
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's awesome that Google and Microsoft now have taken up the mantle to challenge Apple, because I think a lot of what's been going
it's
on
going to
with
make
Apple,
it more competitive, and
exactly.
they're going to have to start trying.
I mean,
harder
they've
again.
been so far ahead on a lot of stuff, the
Slacking.
quality of their products, that it's easy to kind of slack off when you're that far ahead. But now when you're having competition, really, I think, coming for your throats and really making a on par product, you're going to have to start doing something. And maybe we're going to see the most innovative things from Apple now that they feel like they might be having problems, because like I think just the fact that they're like, well, something bad could happen, like that can a lot of times spur the greatest inspiration.
Oh my gosh, capitalism working? Wow, that's so crazy.
I think the government should come in and they should put
come
regulations
in and exactly on everything. That would really spark growth.
Hey, Obama, can you come bail out Apple because they're losing money? They gosh, yeah, like yeah.
No, I completely agree, man. I think it's you're hit the nail on the head, man. Definitely having Microsoft and Google really challenging them, I think, is definitely going to kind of force them to step their game up a little bit, and that is when we see the best products from both companies and the best options. So that's always a good place to be in as a consumer.
And stop making your phones thinner. We don't want thinner phones. We want longer battery life.
And it's going to be like this.
And it's going to last like 5 minutes. It's going to be the MacBook wheel.
But, dude, it's going to be 0.5 millimeter thick. So
yeah,
it's worth it.
It won't have a screen either, because screens interrupt the flow of the design.
Dude, that's so 2007, man. The first iPhone had a screen. They've go ahead and taken it out for you, because it's a hazard. They always break. They're breaking all the time, man. I mean, just take it out.
Well, they did just take out the home button. They took out the button part of the home button.
Yeah. Mechanical.
No, I can totally see them being like, well, we took out the headphone jack, and that was courageous. Now we take out the charging port, because really, this one-time use, it's, oh, God. Yeah. I mean, what would you think that Apple could do? Do you think that you think they're okay right now with phones and they should focus on Macs? You think they should leave Macs and kind of just do phones? Like, what do you think that their direction should be? Or what would you like them to do? To get into?
I think they have a lot of potential, and honestly, I think video games are a huge industry. I think if they kind of tampered in with a little bit in the video game industry, I don't know exactly what that would look like. We saw a little bit with having Mario on their OS and stuff like that.
Dude. Holy crap. Think about this. So Nintendo's been struggling with hardware, to sell hardware. If Apple bought Nintendo and then they produce the hardware and Nintendo the software.
Yeah. Dude, we call Tim Cook
industry
right now, man. Call their CEO. We'll pitch this to him.
Holy crap. That would be.
Yeah, I think there's definitely ways that they could.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of ways. I don't know exactly. I think they definitely need to be updating their Macs probably more often than every 3 years.
Yeah.
I think that's a big deal. And I think they just need to, I mean, they've done it before with the iPhone. I think they need to get back to where they're making actual, good changes and stuff like that, and more innovative changes than taking out the freaking headphone jack. Do more than that.
But now you can buy the nice $90 Bluetooth earphones.
Yeah, that's great.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Apple. I don't know, man. What about you? What do you?
I mean, I think they're okay with their phones for now. I mean, their phones at most they're being matched by the Pixel, but I think their phones are still beautifully designed. They run great. They run for a long time. Like they run smooth much longer than Android phones. So I think they're okay on the phone front. I do think Mac's a big deal. They need to really pick up the pace with the computers. I mean, they tried to be innovative, I think, with their dumpster can of a Mac Pro, the one that looked like a dumpster or a garbage can.
A trash can.
But it had a lot of problems, and a lot of people didn't like it. But I like the fact that they were kind of playing with the idea of how this can be designed. I really think that laptops, they've always been super strong in, and if they can just continue to innovate there, they'd be okay. I really think it's a mistake, the fact that they've said they're not implementing touch into their Mac OS. I mean, they're keeping touch on iOS and then keyboard and mouse on their Mac OS. And I think that's a problem because you see all these Windows computers now having touched on the laptops, and it just makes sense. Like, the scroll on the screen is nice, to pinch and zoom. It's just little things that you might not need, but they're super, super nice to have when you want them. And they're losing out on that. I think VR could be something. And I really think that they missed the boat on the Apple Watch. I'm not totally sold on smartwatches, but if there was one company that could sell people on them, it would be the Apple Watch.
Just make it shiny, man.
Yeah, there you go. They made the
Shiny
freaking $16,000 gold one. I've actually seen a couple of those in real life. It's nuts.
That's insane.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Gaming would be interesting, but they really don't care about gaming that much. I mean, they have games on the App Store, but the App Store is such a freaking wild west when it comes to content. Like, there's so many apps that are just garbage.
It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, a dedicated gaming console has been rumored before, but I can't see it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't know if there's one thing. I just keep thinking if they can just do what they used to do better, then they'd be golden. But that's not really what Apple's been known for. They've been known for pushing the ball forward. So
yeah,
maybe it's I don't know. Maybe it's VR. I could see VR being a big deal if they could get into it. Their car would also be cool. I mean, everything basically. Anything Apple could do would be cool. Yeah. But the car, which we've heard a ton of rumors on, and they're definitely working on something. They've poached a lot of engineers from Tesla and stuff, so we know they're
working. It's gonna be crap.
We know they're working on a car.
Yeah, that would definitely be. Yeah. That would be very cool.
Like, an Apple designed car would be Jimmy Iovine's dream.
It would be the thinnest car you've ever seen.
Yeah, and I also really think they need to not put form over function. Design is nice, but it needs to be functional and it needs to work with people's lives. Taking the headphone jack out does not make sense. It is not the same.
We're never going to stop harping on them for that.
It's like, are you kidding me, dude? And then just in a couple of years, we're probably going to look stupid saying we should have a headphone jack because nothing's going to have it. But right now, it just feels like it was too early.
Yeah, I think there needs to be another way. I can't charge my phone if I want to listen to music with headphones, and that's annoying.
Yeah, you just have to buy Bluetooth headphones, dude.
Oh, yeah, 129. Yeah, no big deal.
Just buy something else made from Apple.
Yeah, man. So,
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
But I think, like we said, they're fine. They're not in any big trouble, but it could be the start of something.
If they start having if they start losing money even more for the next couple of quarters, I mean, you're gonna see their stock price and stuff like that dropping because people who are invested in Apple are not used to seeing Apple's sales revenue falling.
Yes.
So I mean, just today they're down almost 3%. As of this recording. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, Apple is definitely a trusted brand, and it's a huge brand that people love and trust. But it can go away just as fast as it comes. So,
for sure.
Yeah, man. All right. So we're gonna move along to the pick of the week. Seth, why don't you tell us what your pick is, man?
Ooh, I'm excited. All right. So my pick of the week is a music album by an artist named John Bellion. He is a singer, producer. He sings, he produces, he raps, he does everything. Essentially, he writes. He wrote the song "Monster" by Eminem and Rihanna. He wrote Rihanna's parts. Obviously, he didn't write Eminem's rhymes. But his most recent album, The Human Condition, is probably in my top 10 albums of all time.
It's really
It's
good.
immaculate. It's one of those albums that, as an album, like from the first song to the last song, is such a piece of art. Like it's just art, and it works amazing. The songs flow into each other. It's great, but then also on an individual basis, the songs can stand on their own because each one deals with a different topic. Each one's unique. Each one
Yeah.
has its own sound. Each one I can listen to over and over again and find new meaning in the lyrics, new sounds in the track and the beat that I didn't hear before. It's just beautiful, and I've seen him in concert. Incredible live. Like he can perform. He knows what he's doing live. He's probably the most energetic and just person that artist that I felt was just happy to perform his music. Like he just loves his music, and I think that the lyrical content of the songs is very good. He talks
Yeah,
about some
definitely.
really hard stuff, some important stuff, some fun stuff. Standout tracks on the album to me personally would be "Morning in America," which is my favorite song on the album. It deals with our culture and how we're just kind of in a bad, we're on a bad track, and with just all of the misdiagnosis of ADHD he talks about, fathers not being there, these crazy bad things that we kind of just toss to the side, like people abusing drugs, people overdosing. It's just a great song, and just how society seems to be going towards this path of destruction, and we all just like are blind to it, and we just choose not to look at it because we don't want to deal with it. And so that's incredible. And then the outro on the album, "Hand of God."
Yes.
You know it. You know
Oh,
it's.
I got
It gives me
goosebumps the first time
exactly,
I listened to
bro. It
like I
gives me
listened to the
chills.
album all the way through, and oh my goodness.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's you really just have to listen to it. It's cool because it also entwines parts of the rest of the album in the song. Towards the end, you have this incredible chorus singing in the background. It's actually the same chorus that sang "Man in the Mirror" with Michael Jackson. I'm pretty sure, which is
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's it's
It's
just very
incredible. It really is. I can definitely speak to that.
yes.
You told me about this album, and you showed me a couple other songs of his that he'd done, and it didn't really catch me. And now that I've listened to the album multiple times, I've gone back and listened to his other stuff, and I like it more. But yeah, this album is great. He's an awesome artist. The songs by themselves are really cool, but then listening to it all the way through, it's definitely like you said, it's just a piece of art. It's
hmm
really really good.
I mean,
Highly
I
recommend it.
have the album on like a physical disc. Like who does
Yeah,
that? It's
right.
actually
Even the artwork. If you guys haven't seen the artwork, look up
this
the
is the
artwork.
album.
Yeah,
Like each track has an incredible piece of art associated
yeah.
with it. Like just every piece of this thing was just crafted with this care that you don't see. There's not a throwaway track on the album. Every single track is worth listening to. And I can't get enough of it. I absolutely love it, and I would highly recommend anyone, because I haven't mentioned it to one person and them not absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It's a
I
very
want to listen
powerful
to it
piece
now.
of music. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, no, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. So my pick for this week, it's a book that I'm reading right now. I'm a little bit more than halfway through it. It's called Economics in One Lesson.
Nice.
Um, by
Sounds nice and
Henry
easy.
by Henry Hazlitt. Yeah, no, this is a really really good read. I really like this book. You're gonna have to go through it a little bit slower unless you're a genius. But it's a really good read. Like he talks about a lot of Austrian school thought of economics, kind of like free markets, um, emphasis on liberty, individuals, dangers of government intervention and stuff like that. I'm reading a little bit off the back here,
Okay.
just to kind of get a synopsis of what he's saying. But yeah, if you're someone who's interested in economics and stuff like that, and free markets and capitalism and how that works versus socialism or communism or more regulation on the economy, then I highly recommend it. It's a really good read. The guy's really smart. Take notes as you're reading it, because it really teaches you kind of how to defend whatever view that you hold. Whether you're more free market capitalist or whether you're more socialist or more regulation on the economy kind of thing, if that's your view, then this book will, I mean, you'll have all of the reasons why people think capitalism and free markets are good, so you can argue those, or you can defend your own beliefs with it. But yeah, I mean, I picked this up off Amazon for probably like $10.
Nice.
But it's a really good read. It's cool. It's about 200 pages long, but I really enjoy it. I think it's really important that people kind of understand that stuff.
Do you buy your books? Like, you don't have a Kindle or anything?
No, I don't.
That's
like
interesting. Yeah.
I
go back
like
and forth.
holding it. I like holding it and flipping through, and sometimes I'll highlight or I'll mark it up a little bit, and I like that. Plus, if I want to ever like give this to somebody, like if I'm done reading it and I want to give it to someone else, I'm not going to give them my Kindle.
Yeah, well, that's the difference. I don't give anybody anything.
Yeah, you just take.
Yeah, no, I love my Kindle.
Yeah, no,
that's interesting.
I think. Okay. I don't know. I say I liked yours a little bit. I like the paperback and stuff like that, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I like the books.
Mm-hmm.
Fair
enough. Sounds awesome, dude.
Feels like I'm going somewhere, when I can see like the book almost ending.
Yep.
But yeah, man. So go check that one out, guys.
What's the title again?
Economics in One Lesson.
Okay.
By Henry Hazlitt.
Hazlitt. There you go.
It's an older book. I think it was written in 1940.
Oh, well, then it's ancient, bro. I mean, does it really have any bearing on today's society?
Exactly. But Karl Marx is this brand new thing, and socialism is a super cool, hip idea.
Yep.
Anyways.
Never
before
been done.
Yeah, exactly.
Always worked.
Well, guys, as always, thanks for listening to the Peanut Gallery podcast. If you want to come alongside us and offer your unprofessional and insignificant opinions, then feel free to leave a comment on this video. If you enjoyed the podcast, hit that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, check us out on SoundCloud at Beyond Borders. Be sure and listen there. You can find me on Steam at Spades5029 and Seth at New001. If you want to game with us, send us a friend request. Go ahead and do that. Be sure and check us out every Monday. That's when we upload our Peanut Gallery podcast. And then we go through more in-depth segments, either beyond politics or beyond gaming throughout the week. We upload those to our YouTube kind of later in the week, Wednesday, Thursday. So last week we talked about the Nintendo Switch, the announcement trailer, our thoughts on that, and then we talked about who we are voting for and why. So be sure and check those videos out, guys. Thanks for listening, and remember, we're all little nuts.